The Spanish Inquisition is one of the most famous and dark periods in history. It lasted for hundreds of years and changed the lives of millions of people. The story begins in the year 1478, in the beautiful country of Spain. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella wanted to unite their kingdom under one faith. They believed that having only one religion would make their country strong and stable. However, this led to a system that relied on fear, secrets, and extreme punishment. The Inquisition was not just about religion, it was also about power and control. The government used it to find anyone who disagreed with the royal laws. In the beginning, the main targets were people who had recently converted to Christianity. The inquisitors suspected that many people were still practicing their old traditions in secret. Neighbors were encouraged to spy on each other and report any suspicious behavior. If a person did not eat certain foods, they could be accused of being a heretic. This created an atmosphere where no one felt safe, even inside their own homes. A simple whisper or a jealous neighbor could lead to a person's total ruin. Once an accusation was made, the Holy Office would send guards to arrest the person. They were taken away in the middle of the night, so no one could help them. The prisoners were held in secret dungeons located deep beneath large stone buildings. These cells were dark, cold, and often filled with water or pests. The accused were not allowed to see their families or talk to a lawyer. They were kept in total isolation to break their spirit before the questioning began. The inquisitors believed that physical pain was a way to purify a person's soul. They felt that if a body suffered, the person would be more likely to tell the truth. Before the pain began, a priest would usually ask the prisoner to confess voluntarily. If the prisoner claimed they were innocent, the interrogation would move to the next stage. One of the first methods used was the strapado, which used a pulley and a rope. The prisoners' hands were tied behind their back and they were jerked high into the air. This caused the shoulders to pop out of place, creating a pain that was hard to describe. If they still didn't talk, the guards would drop them suddenly and stop the rope before they hit the floor. Another terrifying tool was the rack, a large wooden table with rollers at both ends. The person was stretched until their muscles tore and their joints were severely damaged. The sound of the clicking wood and the stretching ropes was used to scare other prisoners nearby. The inquisitors sat at a desk nearby, calmly taking notes on everything that happened. The toca, or the water cure, was used to make a person feel like they were drowning. A thin cloth was forced into the mouth, and water was dripped slowly to block the airway. This method was used because it left no marks on the body, but caused massive mental terror. It was designed to make a person panic and say anything, just to take a single breath. There were also devices used for public shaming to make sure others did not break the rules. The scold's bridle was a metal cage for the head that had a sharp piece for the tongue. People wearing these masks were led through the market so everyone could mock them. This was a warning to the entire city that speaking out against the church was dangerous. Some stories mention the Iron Maiden, a tall box shaped like a person with spikes inside. Historians now say this was likely a myth created later to make the past look more brutal. Even without the Iron Maiden, the real tools used were more than enough to cause horror. The goal was never to kill the person during the questioning, but to get a written confession. If a person died during torture, it was seen as a failure by the inquisitors. They wanted the person alive so they could be shamed in a public ceremony later. The scribes wrote down every cry for help and every name the prisoner mentioned. Many people would name their friends or family just to make the pain stop for a moment. This caused the Inquisition to grow like a wildfire, as one arrest led to 10 more. Whole families were sometimes wiped out because of one forced confession. After the trials were over, the city prepared for the auto da fe, or the act of faith. This was a massive public event that looked like a parade or a festival. The prisoners were forced to walk through the streets carrying large candles. They wore yellow tunics called sanbenitos, with symbols showing what their crimes were. If the tunic had flames pointing down, it meant the person had confessed and was saved. If the flames pointed up, it meant the person was unrepentant and would face the fire. Thousands of people gathered in the town square to watch the final judgments. The king and queen often sat on a high platform to show their support for the event. Some people were lucky and were only told to pay a fine or wear the yellow tunic for life. Others were sent to work as slaves on the large rowing ships called galleys. For those considered the most dangerous, the punishment was death by burning at the stake. The Inquisition itself did not kill people. They handed them over to the government to do it. This technicality allowed the church to say they never shed blood during the process. These public executions were meant to terrify the population into total obedience. As the years passed, the Inquisition became a tool for politics and taking property. If a wealthy man was accused, the government could take his land and his money. By the 1700s, people across Europe began to speak out against these cruel methods. Philosophers and writers argued that torture was not a good way to find the truth. They believed that a person in pain will say whatever the guards want to hear. Slowly, the power of the inquisitors began to shrink as laws started to change. In 1834, the Spanish Inquisition was officially abolished forever by the government. The secret prisons were opened, and the torture devices were put into museums. Today, we look back at this time to learn about the dangers of unchecked power. It reminds us why a fair trial and the right to defend oneself are so important. The history of the Inquisition is a dark one, but it teaches us to value human rights. We must ensure that such fear and cruelty never return to our modern legal systems. Thank you for joining us for this long and detailed look at this historical period. We believe that understanding the past is the only way to protect our future. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a thumbs up and share it. Subscribe to our channel for more long-form history scripts and stories. What part of this history surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments. Click the bell icon so you are the first to see our next historical journey.